everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all types of topics related to narcissism. So if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help me out, and definitely don't forget to leave comments because I like to read what you have to say. There's a common perception that women have all the advantages when it comes to divorce. You know, that women take everything gleefully and the poor sucker man just pays and pays. That has definitely not been my experience. And through many of you who have contacted me through email and in the comments, I know I'm not the only woman who feels this way. I do think it probably used to be true, but nowadays, every state or close to every state has no-fault divorce, and there's legal parameters set in place, so there's really only so much that you can do when you get divorced. However, with that said, there are men, Joe included, who have had an unusually difficult time with their divorces. Now, of course, there's women also who have had unusually difficult experiences, but this in turn adds fuel to the fire that women destroy men in divorce court. In today's video, I'm going to talk about one such case. I'm going to tell you about a divorce that is so insane that one, it doesn't sound real, and two, how is this even possible? Many of you know my boyfriend Joe. He's the Joe in the Sharon and Joe show that you can see right here on Saving Hearts on Mondays. When Joe and I became a couple, we had both been separated for about a year. I was a few months ahead of him in the actual separation part, but he was ahead of me in doing anything to legally end his marriage. Or so Joe thought. Joe had hired an attorney at his ex's insistence to write up a disillusionment. So he gave her every single thing that she wanted. Joe told me at this point, all he wanted, and I've been there and probably you have too, you will literally do just about anything to get rid of this beast attached to you. Just leave, just go. I don't care what happens. I don't care where I'm left. I just want you gone. Joe felt that way and he did that. He hired the lawyer, he did the disillusionment. Every single thing that she wanted, he did. And what she wanted was money. Joe gave her literally every penny in his account, tens of thousands of dollars. He gave it all to her, all of it. So it wasn't most of it, some of it, all of it. In exchange, he got to keep the house that he bought with his own money. He paid for. He added her to the house after they got married, but he had paid for everything on this house, just in case anyone's wondering about that. And so he got to keep that. And she didn't want the house anyways because she wanted money. She wanted cash. She's a drug addict. That's what she wanted. Joe got custody of their child, their younger child. They do have 2 kids together, just like I do. And similarly to me, one of them is a minor. He got that. She was supposed to put their son on her medical insurance, and she was supposed to pay child support. That was how it was. And they both got to keep their cars. So that's what it was. Joe gave her the money ahead of time. Obviously a huge mistake for what I'm about to say next, in good faith. This was it was signed, notarized in front of witnesses. It's a legal document. It was ready to go. It's a legal document that should matter. That's how our court system is. However, that's not what ended up happening in the slightest. The day before it was supposed to be filed, she withdrew. She withdrew the document. She didn't want to go through with it. She told Joe she wanted to try to get back together with him. Joe told me he felt like he was going to throw up when that happened. He's like, I was in complete despair. I wasn't okay when this happened. He was ready to have this happen. Now, of course, she didn't give back the money. She stole all his money and then she withdrew. And apparently this was fully legal. This was okay. So this was the beginning of Joe's new nightmare. Now, shortly after this happened, Joe was trying to move forward with his life. He was getting up at 4:30 a.m. to go to the gym, and one day when he got up, there was no car in the driveway. She had broken into the house in the middle of the night, stole his keys, and then the car. Now, Joe called the police, but since technically they were still married, he couldn't do anything. Now remember, she had taken every penny he had. She never gave that back. So Joe, who had 2 kids to take care of, he had groceries to buy. He had doctor's appointments to go to the dentist. He had to drive his son back and forth to school. He couldn't do that anymore. He has no car and he has no money. So Joe, as a grown-ass man, had to ride a bicycle to work every day back and forth until he was able to save up enough money to buy a used car. I mean, that was his life after he tried to get out of this entanglement. Now, about a year ago, Joe and I got together and we decided together we would support each other through our respective divorces. Because he had already had all this done, we decided, okay, he was going to go first because it should have been cut and dry. He was going to go first and then I was going to go. Everything was all set. This is what we were going to do. It sounds simple. Today, 1 year later, he is still not divorced. He's still paying $250 an hour to a worthless attorney, and he's still experiencing moments of complete despair. Now, it gets worse. After she broke into the house and stole the car, she then began to obsessively call and harass him. Now, Joe had gone no contact at this point. She would call at all hours of the day and night. He would ignore everything. Now, she doesn't work anymore. I'm not sure what happened. Joe just knows she doesn't work anymore. So I don't know if that was a tactic not to pay child support, not to have her son on medical insurance, but she doesn't work. Of course, she's able to keep a phone, and she used to pay for her son's phone. She just let that lapse. So now her son had no phone. All these, mother of the year here. These are the things that she's doing. Then she starts harassing Joe. Now, Joe never replied, not once. And I'm going to tell you something. This woman would send him the most vile, horrifying, scary texts and leave voicemails as well. And Joe never responded. I don't know how he did that. If my ex did that, now I'm also no contact with my ex. I don't know that I could not respond to some of the things that she said. But, I have to hand it to him. He never did. Now, what Joe ended up doing was he ended up filing a restraining order to keep her away from the house, and he had his lawyer draw up a document that told her not to contact him at all. Since the restraining order was put into effect, she has shown up at the house at least 3 times that I can recall offhand, and she has never stopped calling him. Now, when I say obsessively calling, she's called him well over 100 times. Now, for those of you thinking, well, why doesn't he just change his phone number? Joe uses his phone as part of his business. He sells insurance. He has so many clients with that number. It's the biggest hassle to have to try to contact every single person. So he does know eventually he's going to have to change the number. But that I just wanted to let you know for anyone who is thinking that. Now, last summer, she pushed off the divorce by saying she wanted more contact because Joe was trying to get this into the court system. He's trying to get this document enforced. So they were supposed to go to court, have this done, and then she suddenly said that she wants time with their son, that Joe's not giving her enough time with their son. So Joe is forced to go through mediation. Now, this is my issue with mediation it's the states. I'm not sure if it's mediation or the states. They don't care about the kids. The kids don't matter. In fact, the mediator actually said to Joe, it's better for a child to have a bad parent than no parent. Now, I am not a psychologist, I am not a professional, but I am a mother, and I am a mother who has abused children. And I can tell you my personal belief, which I wholeheartedly stand behind, is that a bad parent should not be a parent. Your child does not have to be with a bad parent. If you're in a situation where one of the parents is bad and the other one isn't, the good parent should decide if the child sees the bad parent or not. I just feel this way. My kids have been abused. And I made a video last week, I guess it was this week, talking about how my son, who was abused by his father, is forced to have contact with his father so that I can get divorced. My attorney said this. Your divorce really hinges on your son having communication with your ex. They're putting that on a boy who just turned 16 years old. There's no care for the child. The state pretends they care, but they don't. They're 100% behind parents having a relationship with a child despite anything, nothing. I don't know. I'm not, this is real. Imagine, I could see a case where somebody murdered the other parent and now suddenly the court's well, that's between them. The child has a right to see their parent. What? This is how crazy it is. But the thing in Joe's case, he wasn't even stopping his son from seeing his mother. The only stipulation he had was because his ex is a drug addict, he doesn't want his son driving around in a car with somebody who's high. That's it. Honestly, I think Joe's been amazing with that. She's trying to say she never gets to see him. He never answers her phone calls. That's because she doesn't pay for his phone anymore. So all he could do was text. So she would be trying to call through Joe's phone or other people's phone to talk to her son. It was absurd. It was so absurd. His son doesn't want to talk to his mother. She's abused him, just like my ex abused my kid. The court forgets this. Now, Thankfully, blessedly, the court doesn't literally force the child to actually spend time with the parent, but it affects the court cases because they're pushing this. And then you, as the other parent, look bad. Like in my case, I know it was kind of, well, you could talk your son into it. You need to do this. And it was kind of the same with Joe. So Joe was all right with it, though. He's like, if my son wants to see his mother, I'm okay with it. I just don't want her high. That was his stipulation. It's fine with me. So the mediator, what could she say? Joe was saying, yes, fine, it's okay. So then what happened was they set up times for her to see her son. So I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of, all right, you can see your child, Sunday nights, you're going to call him on Joe's phone, of course, you're going to call him. And then on Tuesday afternoons, you're going to take him out for lunch, and Friday night you have dinner together. It was something like that. She showed up 2 times. Now, remember, Joe has a restraining order on her. So she was supposed to meet the child down the street. Now, Joe's son was 16 at the time, so he could walk down the street. And she would pull right into the driveway, breaking that restraining order, no problem. I'm not even including that in the 3 times she showed up at the house, because she showed up at the house wanting to fight with Joe. This time she's pulling the driveway, just stay there, just to be like, look what I'm doing. I know I'm doing something bad, but because I have my son with me, you're not going to come out and say anything. So I'm just going to push just a little bit. I'm just going to keep pushing. That's what they do. So when Joe mentioned this to the mediator, that she was doing that, oh, well, that's not that big of a deal. She's picking up her child. Just don't go outside. I mean, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you feel. And Joe personally has said to me so many times, you know what? It's like, if I was a woman, this would never be allowed. Now, I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. I do think it probably is true in some cases, but this is what's been going on. So that happened. Then his ex, I guess, just like gave up on it. She didn't want to see the child anymore. So Joe's trying to push this through the court again. So finally, Joe and I believed, this is what his lawyer said, that December 22nd was the day. Now, Joe had done every single thing to get this going. He kept pushing it through the court, and she kept changing things. I want mediation. I want this. I want that. December 22nd was supposed to be the day. Now, Joe and I moved in together on Christmas Day. That was not planned. We believe that was like a God thing, but that wasn't planned. We wanted to move in together a day that was before January 1st, was our plan before January 1st. And then when Joe found out that his divorce was December 22nd, all right, we'll do it after that. It ended up, through a variety of reasons, being Christmas Day. So December 22nd comes, and turns out that, guess what? It got postponed. So the court just postponed it. There was no divorce, not that day. It was postponed until January. January comes. She didn't have an attorney anymore. Postponed. Now she's decided she wants half the house and alimony, even though she took and spent the money Joe gave her. She stole and didn't return the car. She lost her job, has never given Joe a dime towards their son's care. She never put their son on his medical. The court is okay with this. A legal document means nothing. She now is claiming that she was on drugs when she signed it. I mean, seriously, how many people sitting in jail right now would love to use that as an excuse? Judge, I was on drugs when I robbed that store. I was on drugs when I killed someone. What about people in jail for drunk driving? Judge, I was drunk, so obviously this doesn't count. You know how that is. It's BS, and it's tolerated. This was notarized. Now, I'll tell you another thing that I want to say. The other thing that she did, now Joe has full custody of this child. Joe does everything, just like I do with my kids. Like, we both have full custody. My ex did this last year, but not this year. His ex last year and this year filed taxes first and claimed their son. She took that money. She took this tax return and just took the money. She stole that money. Joe went through his attorney. He tried to deal with this, and the attorney said he had to file an amendment through the IRS. He does this. He hears nothing. Like, literally, he doesn't hear anything back. He is completely ignored. His ex, essentially, she's a thief. She's a criminal, and it's okay. And Joe is trying to push this forward, and not lose his mind in the meantime. So I mentioned on Monday's video that Joe on Wednesday had something going on. He had a court case. Now, I said to Joe, maybe this will be the day. And he said to me, are you kidding me? There's no way this is going to be the day. It's going to be postponed yet again. So Tuesday comes, and guess what? It turns out that something had changed. Now, first of all, Joe had already taken a half day at work to do this, to go down to the court for this. He finds out the day before that it's just a meeting of the attorneys. So Joe doesn't go. He's not going to go. So he wastes his time off work. He's trying to save up vacation days. He wastes his time off work. He's not going down there. And today, as I'm making this video, it's Friday. He hasn't talked to his attorney. He cannot get in touch with his attorney. He doesn't even know what happened. I mean, I cannot make this up. This is like an unendurable nightmare. It's horrible. And I'm not even going through it. I'm going through it with somebody I love. Joe's the one going through this absolute hell. And how can you say it's anything else but hell? So his attorney called him on Wednesday, and Joe missed the call. He called him back like 5 minutes later, and the receptionist is saying, "Oh, he's at lunch right now, so we can't talk." So Joe was like, I heard him. He's like, "Oh, that's all right. We'll just have him give me a call after lunch." He never called him back. Yesterday, I was at work, and I'm texting Joe, "Did you hear anything? No. So I'm making this video Friday morning. He still doesn't know what happened on Wednesday. But Joe said to me, he's like, "Sharon, if it was good news, he would have called me. It's just going to be another postponement. Her lawyer probably didn't show up, or there's some other issue. It's going to be postponed yet again. Who knows when it's going to be? It's going to be postponed to November. I don't know." So this is what's going on with Joe. It is the divorce from hell. Everything was drawn up, legal, notarized, signed. Everything was official. She pulled out, and it has been postponement after postponement after postponement. It is unbelievable. And Joe said to me, "You know what, Sharon? You're going to be divorced before me. I know it." Because mine just keeps, she wants to do every single thing she can to harass and abuse Joe, and she is not letting it go. So there you go. There is a nightmare of unimaginable, it's just horrible. I don't even have words for it. It's so bad. So tell me your thoughts, and tell me, if you're a man, what you think. Has this happened to you? I want to know, is it worse for men? My personal opinion is that it isn't anymore, except in isolated cases, but I think it's like that with women too. But this is one of those cases where it's horrific. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Speaking of Joe, we're planning on doing the Sharon and Joe show this weekend. Now, Joe's working this weekend, so sometimes that makes it so that we can't do the Sharon and Joe show, but we're going to try. And I will be here on Monday with or without my better half. So thank you for watching. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Monday. God bless.